Good morning and welcome to This Week. 100 days.
Maybe I should just pack up and go home.
The president faces tough questions.
The rumors of my demise may be a little exaggerated.
How does he fight the lame duck label? Is the problem presidential leadership or congressional obstruction? Can Washington get anything done now? Then,
here we go, huh? Warren is in the house.
The Oracle of Omaha. As the Dow nears 15,000, the world's best investor is here in a This Week exclusive. James Carville and Mary Matlin join our Powerhouse Roundtable. Jason Collins makes history. You always knew you were gay?
You know that the sky is blue, but you keep telling yourself that it's red.
And Whoopi Goldberg shines in our Sunday Spotlight.
From ABC News, This Week with George Stephanopoulos. Reporting from ABC News headquarters, George Stephanopoulos.
Hello again, a packed show this Sunday morning, and we begin with breaking news from the Middle East. For the second day in a row, Israeli warplanes have hit Syria, a series of large explosions in Damascus. ABC's Alex Marquardt has the latest on that from Jerusalem. And Alex, I know the Israelis aren't saying much, but the target apparently Iranian missiles that could be used to target Israel.
Good morning, George. That is reportedly one of the targets. Israeli officials, as you say, really aren't saying anything, which, of course, is pretty much standard operating procedure after an operation like this. Just moments ago, Syria said that Israel struck 3 military targets inside Syria, including an airport and what we believe is an arms depot on a mountain that overlooks Damascus. Now, if confirmed by Israel, this would be the second set of airstrikes inside Syria in the past few days, just in the past 48 hours. On the night from Thursday to Friday, Israel is believed to have targeted a shipment of long-range Iranian-made ground-to-ground missiles bound for the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. Now, Syria has just released a statement accusing Israel of collaborating with what they call the al-Qaeda-linked group Jabhat al-Nusra. They say, quote, that Israel aims to give direct military support to terrorist groups. Now, Israel has long warned that they will not allow advanced weaponry, specifically chemical weapons, from ending up in the hands of its enemies, and that's what appears to be happening here. An Iranian military official, a top official, said today that Hezbollah will respond to these Israeli strikes. It's hard to know whether that's bluster or whether it's a genuine threat. But as you can imagine, tensions here are very high. Israel has moved 2 of its famous Iron Dome anti-missile batteries into the north, near the borders with Syria and Lebanon, to cover whatever could come in from there, not just onto the civilian population, but onto what could be strategic military targets. We're also getting reports that Syria's regime has held an emergency meeting to figure out what its response should be. But perhaps in a sign that Israel doesn't think that a response could be imminent, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is proceeding with a trip to China later tonight. George?
Okay, Alex, thanks. And with that, let's bring in our roundtable. Cookie Roberts from ABC, Bill Richard, Democrat, former governor of New Mexico, former UN ambassador and energy secretary, Jim DeMint, the president of the Heritage Foundation, former senator from South Carolina, and James Carville and Mary Matlin. Welcome to both of you. Thank you. And let's start out with Syria. Governor Richardson, let me go to you. You were serving as UN ambassador. The president, right after these strikes were announced, ruled out putting U.S. boots on the ground in Syria, but the pressure is building for more military action.
Yes, and I think he signaled that he's ready to use that military action. We can't have boots on the ground, but I think potentially some kind of option like airstrikes against some of those weapon sites to protect the rebels are in the cards, in my view. Now, I think what happened with Israel is Israel's also sending a signal to Iran, to Hezbollah, but possibly to us, too, that the situation right in the Syrian area is getting very, very tense. But I think in the next few days, my view is that the president will opt towards some kind of limited military option.
Senator DeMint, is that something he should do?
Well, Israel is acting in self-defense. Clearly, Iran is shipping more precise guided missiles through Syria, so the less stable Syria is, the more dangerous it is for Israel. I think we've probably taken too much of a passive or at least an unclear stance on this for too long. That's created more instability. I think the president needs to make it clear what we will do, and he's already tried to do that with his bright red line, which he hadn't followed through on. So I don't know what his steps should be right now, but clearly his indecisiveness has destabilized and probably brought Israel into this.
Clearly, also, though, Koki, the public not rushing for
and
military
that is a huge problem. Look, the president doesn't know what to do, and neither does anybody else. And so what you have is a lot of people criticizing the president for doing nothing, and then when you ask them what should happen, they kind of dance all over the place. But with the public being so completely disillusioned with American wars abroad that have gone on for so long, you know that these wars in Afghanistan and Iraq have cost every American family something like $45,000, not to mention, of course, the lives. And it really takes a whole foreign policy option off the table when Americans say that they don't want to have our troops engaged in another war. And that's a problem because we need to have every single option available in a very dangerous world.
One of the big questions, Mary Matlin, is how effective actually arming the rebels can be and what kind of consequences that could create if those weapons fall into the wrong hands.
That's right. So to echo much of what has been said here, his policy ranges from incoherent to feckless. He's redrawn his red lines. He's reversed his opposition to arming the rebels. He doesn't know who they are. We don't have good intelligence because of the effects of the policies, his policies dismantling our security infrastructure. So this is all playing out. Yes, it is difficult to know what to do in a transitioning region. Something we know not to do is what he has done, which is issue these red right lines and then walk back from them.
It's the parental thing. It's every parent knows not to do that.
I don't normally do my apologies, but I'm going to play George Will here. And he is talking about dithering, and he and I don't agree on a lot, but we're in the pro-dither caucus. And if you're talking about helping these rebels, you got to understand this is not Patrick Henry and Benjamin Franklin over there that we're dealing with. And it is not altogether certain that either the worst people in the world are the government and the second worst are the rebels, or the first worst is the rebels and the second is the government. But it's not like we got a great choice over there as to what we do.
No, that's true. It's a terrible set of choices, and nobody really does know what to do. But what does seem to be happening is that there's a lot of disillusion with the United States in the Muslim world, and that's a problem.
It is.
No, what I saw a signal by General Idris, who is the head of the rebels, military council, and he basically renounced Al-Qaeda. Now, I know there's questions about that.
Well, that clears that up.
That was good.
But he likes
and
the Taliban
fact that
just
I
fine.
think Britain and France are going to start arming the rebels, I think that's a signal. That's some, I won't say cover, but it's a move in the direction of NATO and the president moving.
And we're not going to be going
And I think he should.
And refugees, we have got to do a whole lot more.
But
with
the issue
the
here
hundreds of thousands
is Iran.
of refugees.
And Syria is almost a distraction here. The weapons moving through Syria because it's completely destabilized. We have to focus on how we can demonstrate our support of Israel and continue the pressure on Iran. Otherwise, we're going to create more problems inside Syria.
But Senator, I'll make a point. If my geography is correct, for weapons to get from Iran to Syria, they have to go through Iraq. Overfly.
Yeah.
But if we had better allies in Iraq, we might be able to do something.
If we had better allies in general, this president promised us he would reset his relationship with Russia, which could put pressure on Assad and China. He was going to reset all of our relationships in the world to leverage the power to bring peace. None of that has happened. Iran is the real issue. Weapons have passed to Hezbollah through Syria from Iran and continue to and will, because we don't follow up on anything we say we're going to do. There are not good options, but there are weak promises invite provocation.